Comic books and video games. They go together hand in hand. And it makes sense. Ever since like the Atari on up, we've had video games based off of comic books. We've had Spider-Man games, Superman games, Batman games, you name it, it's been made. But the thing is, there's a lot of comic book characters and just comic book franchises that haven't gotten the video game treatment, which is kind of unfortunate because they would be really fun. So I'm making this video right now to talk about some of the comic book characters I think not only would they make badass video games, but video games that you could technically adapt that franchise and make it into that comic book game. And it would be awesome. So here we go. First up on my list is going to be Deadpool. Now, Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, happens to be one of the coolest characters that Marvel's put out in years. Now, keep in mind that a lot of it is slapstick humor and it's not very serious, but that's one of the reasons why Deadpool is so cool. Well, recently in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they have Deadpool in the game, so he's kind of made his way into video games, but I think that it's time, and for many of the fans out there of Deadpool, to be able to get to control him, finally, in his own video game. Now, initially, whenever you see Deadpool in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they automatically pit him against Dante, and that makes sense, because Dante also uses swords, guns, and he's very mouthy and cocky and says funny things. So it makes a lot of sense. They pretty much go together pretty well. Now, thinking with that same mentality, it would make sense. Take a Devil May Cry game and replace the world and the characters and everything with Deadpool. Okay, really fast gameplay because, I mean, well, Deadpool is really fast and agile and jumps around and shoots shit and everything and blows stuff up and he carves through things. That makes a lot of sense. So put him in something like that. But the thing is, add a little twist to it. You know, why don't you make it so that he'll talk directly to the player, and he'll do things that are out of character for a video game, you know, like make fun of the fact that there's loading times and things like that. Along with that, you could introduce other characters from the Marvel Universe that happen to pop up in Deadpool comics, like Wolverine and Cable and everything. That'd be really cool. Have them show up in cameos. They could be controllable characters at some point in the game, or they just run around with you. Something like that would be really awesome, and if they really wanted to make like an extra nod to Dante, make him a playable character. Make him show up. It doesn't need to make sense. It'd just be really fucking kick-ass that you're running around as Deadpool and then all of a sudden Dante just like shows up out of some random dimension. And then they run around and like fight demons together or fight like comic book characters. I don't give a shit. I would just love to see that happen because, well, it makes sense and it would be awesome. Then you have Superman. Superman, the Man of Steel, has gotten shit on when it comes to video games. I mean, like, really, really shit on. Like, several mountains worth of shit just falling on the Man of Steel's head, and he's just buried under it, whimpering like a fucking bitch, because it happens that, like Kryptonite, yep, shit has the same exact effect on him. It makes him feel very, very sad and like he's dying. So, the Man of Steel, yeah, he definitely deserves his own video game that's actually awesome. Not like, you know, a certain other game. Now, what was it? It was on a Nintendo console. I think it had, like, a number in it. Like a 64, maybe? I mean, they could just call it, like, a Superman 64, maybe? Oh, yes. It's Superman fucking 64. The Abomination, the running gag. One of the worst video games ever created on any system anywhere at all. Like, it's the equivalent of E.T. Like, everybody should gather up copies of it and go bury it in the fucking desert because that's where it belongs, like, in its own landfill. Its own designated landfill with a sign, like, you know, radioactive, toxic waste. Don't go near this. You'll die. Seriously, it fucking sucks. Anyway. Fact is that Superman does deserve a hell of a lot better than Superman 64. Okay, just imagine this. Now, you're Superman. You're flying through the air. You're Superman. You know how fucking strong he is? He's like, strong. I can tear anything apart. I have fucking laser eyes. And I can, like, basically go back in time because I'm so fucking fast. And I have ice breath and all this other stuff. He has all those superpowers. Why not implement them and make it fun for the player? Make it so that you gain them throughout time or something in the gameplay. Make it so that Superman has something worthy to fight, not, I'm gonna go and save this citizen who's getting their fucking purse snagged. No. That's for the fucking cops to deal with. Superman has to deal with, like, crazier shit, something more lethal. Make, like, the Brainiac ship come in and he, like, sends all these aliens down. That would be really awesome. Have Doomsday show up and he just starts tearing shit apart because that's what he does. How about Darkseid? Darkseid could show up and he could bring in a whole bunch of people from, like, anywhere in the fucking universe just to fucking rape poor Superman in the face. That's how it should go. I would love to see something like that. Take all of his biggest villains and make them show up just to fucking give him hell. See, this is what I want to have happen. I'm Superman, and I'm strong enough that I can literally tear, like, an entire building in half and use it like a fucking baseball bat. You know how cool that would be? How many people would think about that? But like, man, I remember when I was Superman, swinging like, the Empire State Building like a fucking baseball bat, and I knocked that dude into the sun. That was fucking cool. Oh wait, that didn't happen yet. Stupid. And why not this, okay? If you have all those villains showing up just to take him on, why don't you have Batman show up? Because Batman and Superman team up all the fucking time. I'm sorry, but Batman showing up in any game is fucking awesome as far as I'm concerned. You know, have Wonder Woman show up, because there's tons of things that have the three of them all the time in it. You know, have Supergirl show up. Have Power Girl show up. It doesn't matter. You could have all those characters show up in some kind of way, make them unlockable at some point, have them with their own side missions, anything like that. You know, Superman should really have, like, an epic game, because he deserves it. He's a really cool character. Granted, you know, he's kind of generic here and there, but it doesn't matter. He's an awesome character if you would give him, like, the role for the player to be able to control, because that would be neat. Controlling Superman? Yeah, that would be kick-ass. Another character I would love to see in comics would be Lobo. Lobo the Bounty Hunter, the one-of-a-kind superhero, well, more like an anti-hero, really. But the fact is that he's a badass bounty hunter, stronger than shit. Okay, he literally can go toe-to-toe fighting with Superman. He's got the regenerating powers that Wolverine does, and he's pretty much immune to, like, tons and tons of shit. So that means that controlling him would be a hell of a lot of fun. But the thing is, you know, he's got his awesome motorcycle, so you could, like, fly around through space, all the different planets that he'd be going to for, like, the different bounties. Because Lobo's is seemingly always in debt. So you could make it so that all the bounties that you're going and trying to, like, pay off your debt. You could use the money to go and unlock things within the game, unlock different areas that you can go to. You could come across other characters within a DC universe, such as Superman, since he's fought him like a million different times, and you could, like, go toe-to-toe with him, and if you beat him, you get something really kick-ass. Like, there's all sorts of different things, and considering his personality, like, I mean, he's always cracking, like, wise-ass jokes, he's always saying really fucked up things, and there's been tons of characters that he's come across that would work really well within a video game, that, like, to actually, like, fight, or to have on your team. Either way, I would really, really like to see Lobo in a video game, whether it's his own game, or he just shows up in somebody else's, because it'd be awesome. Then you have Iron Man. Iron Man, who his games were based off of the movies, yet again. See, that's the thing. Anytime that it's based off the movies, they just rush it out there and just like, alright, we're gonna make our money while the movie's still in theaters, and then it goes to Blu-ray and DVD, and people still have it on the brain. But that's not the way that you should actually think about things, because if you put out a shitty product like that, it's not gonna stand the test of time for more than a week. And then it's gonna get all these crappy reviews, and then all your potential fans that were gonna be interested in it aren't gonna wanna mess with it because it got like a 4.3 rating. Who the fuck wants to play that? It's a joke. Thing is, Iron Man is such an awesome concept. I mean, think about all the games where you're controlling a mech. Okay, well, just make that a lot smaller and make it Iron Man. You know, I think of games like Zone of the Enders. Like, that's one of my favorite games that has mechs in it. Now, if I could have a game like that, but I'm controlling Iron Man, that would be fucking awesome. Like, it would be so cool. And he's got, like, how many suits? You know, you can have, like, an unlimited amount of powers. Have Tony Stark basically, like, be the cockiest dude around. Every time, like, you get to a certain point in the game, you get, like, a ridiculous amount of upgrades that you get to choose between, and then you get to go and start your mission or something. You know, that would be really awesome, yet, you know, we don't have that, and that's just depressing. Have other characters from the Avengers show up in the game. You know, you get to control them after a certain point. That would be really cool. Or just have them show up and assist you on the mission so that you can go and like take down a ton of different like enemies and everything. Stuff like that would be really cool. Have it so that it's like the Earth is in need. We need the Avengers. And, you know, you go from just having like a straight up Iron Man game to like a pseudo Avengers game. And if it turns out that people really like that part, then you could just make a full-out Avengers game. So it's win-win for everybody. Another character I would love to be able to control, even if it's just for a short amount of time, would be Venom. Now, granted, back on a 16-bit era, we got to control Venom a little bit in some of the games, but the thing is, I want Venom with his own game. You know, Venom's going through some drastic changes recently, concerning the fact that you have Venom as, like, several different people, then you have Anti-Venom, and now you have Venom who looks like a SWAT team dude, which is kind of cool in a way, because, I mean, I liked how it looked, but anyway, it's the fact that you could have, like, all this stuff clusterfucked into one game. And it could work. It could genuinely work if you did it right. You know, take all that, like, you know, Venom throughout time. Something like that would be really interesting. I mean, he's a really powerful character. Bring in Carnage. Bring in Spider-Man. Bring in a whole lot of characters. And make it so that Venom seriously is, like, ruthless. Because that's how I prefer Venom. I don't want him to be, like, a goody-two-shoes good guy. I want him to seriously, like, tear bad guys in half. Because, to me, that's what Venom should be doing. And if I got to have a game where I was Venom tearing guys in half, yeah, I sure as shit would be picking that game up like in a heartbeat. Now, there's a few other characters that I would mention, but it turns out that they are getting their own video games, mostly because they have movies coming out, such as Thor, Captain America, and Green Lantern, because all of them have movies coming out this summer, actually, which is going to be one of the most kick-ass summers ever, because I want to see all those movies. But the thing is, all of them, yeah, they have video games that are coming out, but it's going to be based off the movies. And that's one of the things that kind of bumps me out, because they always rush those kind of games. You know, whenever there's a movie come out, they're like, oh my god, get the game out there immediately so we can cash in, like, while the movie's still relevant. Which is just silly. They should take their time with it, like they have with other games, and, you know, make sure that it's, like, a complete product, something that's going to be faithful to the comics, something that's going to not only make the comic book fans happy, but bring in new fans that aren't really familiar with the comic. And when it comes to movies, nah, they want it out lickety-split, you know, get that shit out there so that everybody can enjoy it. It kind of sucks, but, you know, what can you do? Now, those are just a few characters that I'm going to go over. I mean, there's other characters I would love to see, like, starring their own games, like Daredevil and Green Arrow, and I would like to see another Wolverine game, because his games were also, like, really kick-ass. I would like to see another X-Men game, as a matter of fact. You know, I'd like to see a Ghost Rider game, but done right, because the one that came out was fucking awful, because Ghost Rider is fucking awesome. So, yeah, he deserves his own video game, too, especially if it's done right. With games like Batman Arkham Asylum and the soon-to-be Arkham City, it pretty much shows that if you have the right developer and they have, like, the actual comic in mind, not just trying to do their own thing with it, but really trying to just be faithful to the comic book world in the way that the characters are portrayed, the way that they do things, they control, and things like that, things can be done right and it can turn out to be kick-ass. I mean, that's how it should be done. Like, the guys at Rocksteady who made Arkham Asylum, yeah, they're fucking awesome. So, if we get more developers like that on hand that can start adapting the comic books to video games, I think it'd be cooler than shit. Now, the question is that I know that there's more comic books out there, and there's more characters, a hell of a lot more. Ones I haven't mentioned, but there's too many for me to name. But that's where you guys come into play. I want you to comment down below, or even make a video response of what you guys would like to see as a comic book character in their own video game, that they finally get to, like, be, you know, the character that they should be, that everybody gets to control and go on the adventures that they get to go on, you know, and see all the action that they're supposed to be seeing. So what characters would you like to see? Let us know, and hopefully, yeah, some of these characters might actually get the stuff that they rightfully deserve.